Good morning. It's actually quite late to start. Today, well, first of all, I'll apologise because I'm back to using my phone again because my camera's broken. I had to send it back, and I forgot to charge my microphone. So that's in the house charging, but I wanted to get on and sort this. So hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully I can do something in the editing so you can hear me. But basically, hang on, let me grab my coffee. Bit cold when you're standing still. Yeah, so basically I spent last weekend and last week making a mess in various places. Today I have what I call a free day, which basically means I did have plans. My plans was to do my tax return. I did my tax return last night. So today I didn't actually have any jobs set up to do because I thought I was doing my tax return. So there's plenty for me to do, but I just get to pick and choose what I do, and anything I do today is a bonus. So I'm starting with this area here. All of this wood, well, most of this wood, should in fact be behind those hurdles. There's some pallets, and that's where I keep firewood until it's seasoned. On this side here, I don't know, it might just be out of shot. There's actually, when we were cutting it up, my dad came over and he was on the chainsaw and I was moving the wood from the other shed. Anything that was already dead and ripe for burning, he put over on this side. But all of that needs thrown straight in. That over there needs splitting down and then throwing in. Yeah, so I'm going to, whilst drinking my coffee, get going with it. Right, so I think that is mainly all the green stuff from this pile. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring over my wheelbarrow. I'll fill my wheelbarrow with the stuff that's ready for burning so I can take it over to the woodshed. And as I go through, any green bits will go in here, and then anything left over that doesn't fit in the wheelbarrow that's ripe for burning will go on this pallet. Not the end of the world if I take green stuff into the house, because if I notice as I'm... a horse? I don't have any horses. Yeah, if I take any green stuff into the house, I've actually got a crate in the house that I load anything green that I find in my wood basket into, so it's effectively drying out in the house, but when it gets full I'll bring it back out here and swap it out for some stuff that I can burn. But yeah, so I'm going to go get that wheelbarrow. this pile dealt with. I have noticed that, and I'd forgotten, in the pile behind you guys, that was mainly splitting, was actually, there was some small stuff, so there was some awkward sized chunks of tree that wouldn't fit in the log holder that my brother very kindly gave me for Christmas. So I just dragged them to the open yard and Dad just sawed them up there. And some of them would have had smaller bits on them. And I just loaded the wheelbarrow and dumped them in here so they were in the relative dry. So before I can split all that, I do have to go through and sort it. But I've got to unload that wheelbarrow. And then I want to get these shavings, or sawdust, into the wheelbarrow and into the garden. And I think by the time I've unloaded that wheelbarrow, I'll be done with stacking firewood, at least for the next 2 hours. And then I might come back and tackle that later. We'll see what I feel like doing, because today's a free day and I can do what I want. But yeah, so I'm going to unload the firewood, shovel up this, and then I'll show you the next mess that I made. I made that mess on Wednesday, that needs dealing with. Right, so it's more than I thought it would be. A good wheelbarrow of sawdust. It's funny to think about it, like, just filled that hopper, bay, whatever you want to call it, with, well, it's not full at all, it is probably about a third full of firewood, and that pallet has got some wood on it, and there's a wheelbarrow in my shed. And cutting up that created what would basically be another wheelbarrow's worth of firewood. So it seems a shame to waste it. I mean, it wouldn't go to waste here, it would go back into the ground and, circle of life and all that jazz. But I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I'll make my mind up probably in the next half hour. My paths at the minute have only got cardboard on it as a mulch. It's in the veg garden. They could do with some wood chip. I've got some wood chip, but it's very, very well rotted, and it might find another home or something more useful to do, like being brown matter in my compost heap in the summer when there's not as much brown matter around. Or I want to make a flower bed this year. And because of the mess I made on Wednesday, I was thinking about sort of, not a Puritan version, but doing is it the hugel culture, where you layer rotten wood or wood sticks and you make a mound. So I could, if I'm putting wood in there anyway, some sawdust isn't going to be a problem, because I assume with hugel culture you factor in for the nitrogen, is it nitrogen leaching, that there's a reason you don't put fresh wood chip on your garden, because it takes nutrients away from the plant in the process of breaking down. But I'm going to be, what I think I'm going to do with that garden is I'll show it you when I'm over there, but I'm going to layer down a thick layer of cardboard, and then I'm going to fill it with the organic matter, the wood and the leaves and whatever else I can find. Probably put some rough hay from the chickens in there, which will throw a bit of nitrogen back into it because it'll have a bit of chicken muck on it. And then another layer of cardboard will go on top before I'll have to buy some compost for that garden. Put a couple of bags of compost on that and I'll plant into the compost. But this might go in the mix. But we'll see how I get there. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we can take this over to the veg garden and I'll see you over there and show you my mess. Right, so the mess that I made yesterday, no, where are we now? On Wednesday, so today is Saturday. I came back from milking, so when I go milking, I go out of this driveway behind me, and I go that way. When I was coming down the road, at the bottom of the driveway, which is at the bottom of my vegetable garden, was a tree. Somebody had been through with a handsaw, sawn off most of the branches so that you could get through, but it was still sticking out in the road. So it had fallen out of my hedge. Well, it was the hedge between the veg garden and the neighbouring field, so it's like fallen out a hedge that was perpendicular to the road, so sort of through the ditch basically. So I had to get the chainsaw out, and that's how I made this mess here. There is a pile of tree. It's mainly brushwood, but I burn quite small stuff, so I will be able to use some of it as firewood. The main trunk of the tree is actually still in the ditch. I didn't have much time, so I got it so it was clear, so nobody driving down the road in the dark would hit anything. But at some point, when I've got the motivation, I'll go down and get the rest of the wood. But whilst I had the saw out, I did this. So that there is the tree from the road, and this is chunks of the hedge. It's not all hedge. So as you can see, my hedge, that's all ivy. They're damson trees, but the ivy just takes over every single year. So I normally go around at the base of the tree cutting the ivy, but it still doesn't get to it. So the ivy I snipped off with loppers. All right, there's some ivy that I snipped off with loppers. But there were some overhanging branches of the damson tree that, I mean, it was nearly impossible to walk down here last summer because of the fruit waves the branches even further down. There were loads of them that were resting on here. And this has been used fairly unsuccessfully as a brassica cake. Well, no, not unsuccessfully. I've had quite a lot of cabbages out of here. I managed to make a lot of sauerkraut, but everything else, and some broccoli, but everything else has been a bit rubbish. So what I've actually got is a plastic, I've got a plastic cover to turn this into a polytunnel. So it'll be aubergines, tomatoes and peppers this year. Yeah, the cucumbers are going to be in that one. So obviously I can't have tree branches rubbing on it if it's got plastic. So I took those off with the saw, and whilst I was at it, I've hacked a lot of this buddleia back. The buddleia is excellent for the pollinators, but it's not excellent for walking down the garden. So that one got hacked back. So there's bits of branches everywhere. This one I hacked back less. I think I need to hack it back a bit more. It basically, as you can see, it comes out at that angle there. So it does lean over. It makes quite a nice little arch, but there's a whole garden there that will be shaded. And I'm kind of in two minds because it might be useful. Like I can grow things that are prone to bolting, like rocket and things along that edge. But that's not what my garden plan says I'm growing there. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, so more mess. And this area here, so there was mess. Yes, lots and lots of mess. Right, so this area here, you can see, that was one of my past mistakes. So I've had this garden for quite a while. I've only really seriously, I did one really good year when I moved here, and then we had a few bad years where I didn't do a lot in the garden. And then, what's this, coming into my third season of properly gardening with intent and with a way, you know, trying to do no dig and all of that jazz. However, there was quite a lot of bits here when I got here, and one of those bits was chicken mesh, which is excellent. I mean, I've used some last year to try and grow some peas up. I think that's what the gentleman that lived here before me did. But I needed somewhere to put it, and I just laid them there. And then all of the various things grew up through them. They've been lifted up throughout the years, because this is actually really good soil, because I have I've dumped muck here, because I was going to turn it into a squash bed one year and it never happened. So it's good soil. Some kind of vine grows out of it and down, so I've pulled all the dead stuff down, which is kind of what's lying on the floor. There's a lot of nettles that grow here, which is why I kind of want to, I'm going to have to do a little bit of digging to level it a bit. I've got a rotten scaffold board, which I think I'm going to put in, held in with some stakes to make an edge to the bed. And then I can backfill there, which is where the sort of culture type thing comes, because there's going to be a lot of brushwoody stuff. And I've got a like dumping compost bin, and that's already kind of full of brambles from some hedge clearing I was doing. So I think, yeah, at the very least I'm going to do some piling. We'll start with some piling because if I get too engrossed in sorting this, I'm not going to sort that mess, and that's the mess that needs sorting. So I'll just set you up somewhere. So obviously I lied, and I've 100% become distracted by the new flower bed. It does make sense. If I set it where it wants to be, I can clean some of this mess into that flower bed.
realised, I told you guys I was building a flower bed, and all I've been doing is digging up dirt and moving around concrete slabs. I'm actually building a platform for something. I'm not ready to share what it's for, but some of you will probably work it out. But I just want I've got what's the equivalent of 4 whole square slabs. So I'm going to make a little slightly level, or as level as I can get it, platform. Once I've levelled it off, I'm going to layer a couple of sheets of cardboard under it to hopefully slow down any nails and stuff poking up through the gaps. And then I'm going to make the bed come up to the edge, kind of the platform. So I'll have a clean area to mow, which should all become grass once I start mowing it again, around here and along there. And then everything in from there will be a garden bed. my easy to get hold of supply of card. So I'm now going to work on filling the bed with enough stuff that this cardboard's not going to blow away. I think I will get that wheelbarrow of wood shavings. I'll get some hay, because once those get damped down by any rain we get, that'll keep the cardboard in place. And then I will fill it with some woody stuff, maybe some chicken muck, we'll see. And then when it comes time in spring, the first few lots of grass clippings will also go on here, and then I will be popping down another layer of cardboard and some compost, and that's what I will be sowing my plants into. Okay, you fell over. I don't know when. I've put most of the woody stuff that came off that patch back on. I've composted any big stinging nettles roots I saw, and I'm going to start bringing stuff up from the garden, just so I've got a layer of woody stuff across the whole of the cardboard. But the ivy, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with yet, because I don't want that patch to turn into an ivy patch. So that I'm probably going to pile up behind the camera somewhere. So that's why you see me walking off with bundles of stuff in my arm. But yeah, and then once I've got a layer of wood down, I know I've got a part bale of hay up here that I've been using for mulching, so I'll probably pop that down, and I might go and get another one. Right, so I'm currently hiding. My shed neighbours, the guys that rent the bigger sheds here, are here moving straw. However, the last time they were here, they drove all over my lawn, which I have just started putting right. And so because it's rented, I couldn't really complain to them directly, and it's rented to us by the same person. So I spoke to the estate, and the estate are going to have words with them. They're not very nice people, and I don't want them to shout at me, so I'm hiding. But I've just finished haying the bed. So we'll probably get some rain at some point, and that'll damp it all down. Sorry, I've got an eggie in my hand. I will show you that, and then at an opportune moment when I can get across the yard without having to deal with those people, I will go in the house, have some lunch, and probably sit and knit until they leave, and then I can carry on fixing. I haven't been filming it, but fixing the grass that they ruined. I've been shoveling it, trying to level it all off because they made ruts in it, and I'm going to put some sheep hurdles around it to stop them driving on it again, and then come the spring I will reseed it. Bit of a shame because we tried to keep the place relatively tidy, and in the space of one day they trashed it, and it was unnecessary. That was the other thing. I'm not just whinging because farmers are making messes. I make messes. Here we go. There's a little platform I created, and that is the bed as it stands at the moment. That's the new bed, and that's the path up the garden. I didn't touch the wood from the tree that fell down because that's more of a sorting process, because some of that I will burn. Thank you for watching. I don't think I'm going to film anything else today, and I'll see you next time.